You know what's crazy? Some of the most capable people at work are walking around feeling unqualified. And honestly, I think a lot of them think that they're behind when really they've just been conditioned to underestimate themselves. Because being unqualified is rarely about skill, it's about comparison and burnout, and honestly, just not knowing how to strategically value yourself and interpret that. If you constantly feel like everyone is ahead, more confident than you, or they just know what they're doing, then this video is for you. I had to realize something. I wasn't actually unqualified. I just didn't trust my own experience. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Ariana, aka the Career Queen, and I help high-performing professionals stop playing with their career and start moving strategically. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any more content, but let's get to the video. One of the biggest reasons professionals feel unqualified is because they are comparing their internal reality to someone's external presentation. So the anxiety, the confusion, all of those things are coming from you simply comparing yourself to someone's LinkedIn post. Why would you do that to yourself? You are comparing someone's finished product to your unfinished product. You cannot compare how you feel internally about yourself, your work, and all of the things that you do to someone's external achievement, something that they posted, something that they are announcing. That doesn't show you all of the things that they've gone through, all of the things that they overcame, or how they feel internally, right? So a lot of times comparison will ruin it, right? There's a quote where it says, comparison is the thief of joy. And I wholeheartedly believe that, because if you are constantly comparing someone else's external presentation to how you internally feel, you are always going to be on the losing end. The reality is that most professionals are still figuring it out. So if you feel like you're behind, this is your sign that you are not. Everyone is still figuring it out as they go. Yes, we are all at different levels, but that's because we all have a different hand in life. So the next time you think about, why am I not being promoted, or I can't find this, or can't do this, or I'm not good at this, ask yourself, are you in the right lane, right? Because maybe you just need to switch gears. But the problem is that hustle culture has convinced us that everyone else is confident except us, and that is so not true. So stop drinking the tea. I want you to really think about what it is that you really want out of your career, out of life, whatever the case may be that you're battling right now. And I want you to think about how you can position yourself for success. A lot of it will come from articulating your value, and if you don't know how to do that, then we're gonna fix that. Okay, this is my favorite one. So a lot of people undervalue themselves, right? And not just like you as a person, but you undervalue your skills, you undervalue your strengths, you are downplaying the things that you know how to do. You are, honestly, you just think that you're normal and everyone else is superior. And let me give you an example. So when I work with clients, a lot of times we talk about skill set, because when I'm looking at their resume and I'm trying to figure out what it is they want to do, I have to understand what it is you can do first, right? So when we look at their skill set, they always, have skills, and I'm like, well, where are these skills, or where are those skills? And they were like, oh, I didn't think I needed to put that on there. And I always say, why? Why would you think that not putting your skill set, whatever it may be, on your resume is not important? And it's always because they thought it was normal. They thought that everyone had it. And this is a clear sign that you undervalue yourself. You undervalue your skill set. The moment you tell yourself this is not important, that is the moment that your value goes down. If you're sitting in an interview and you fail to mention a skill set because you thought that it was implied, or you thought that it was kind of like a given, right? Then you are doing yourself a disservice. The people sitting across from you in that interview do not know anything about you. They don't know what skill set that you have if you did not put it on your resume or application. So in reality, you are already setting yourself up for failure. And this is something that every single professional needs to understand. You have been conditioned to think that your strengths are normal because they're your strengths, right? And you've been using them probably all of your life. And you fail to realize that everyone is unique. Not everyone will have your strength. And if you continue to undervalue your skill set and your strengths, then when you get to a certain point in your career, you're going to feel behind. That is the result of undervaluing yourself for so long. You're going to feel like you're not where you needed to be. You don't have the things going on that you want to have going on. You're not being promoted. You're not getting a raise, whatever the case may be. You're going to eventually hit that brick wall because you have undervalued yourself for so long. Part of valuing yourself, your skill set, comes with, this is the most important thing. So if you struggle with valuing yourself and you're working on that, or if you don't struggle with valuing yourself, then this might be something that you also need to think about. It is your lack of strategic interpretation. So a lot of times we go through life, go through our career, just doing the things, right? Whether it's above and beyond or subpar. One of the things that we forget is that how we interpret our experience and skill set will determine what the other person perceives, right? So what I want you to think about would be, how are you strategically interpreting your skill set and experience? Examples of this are simple. So if on your resume you were saying things like, I helped customers, assisted, blah, 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 right? You're just saying what you did. You're not actually saying what the impact or the strategy behind these things were. Well, the strategy is to improve customer satisfaction, probably in most companies, right? It's not just to assist them, it's to make sure customers return, right? So increasing the rate of return customers. So when you think about what it is you're doing, you have to ask yourself, how is this contributing to the good of the company or my department? So that's a small example of strategic interpretation. But even when you are in meetings and you are trying to communicate a project, or you're trying to communicate what it is that you are visioning for a project or something like that sort, you have to be strategic. You have to think about, how does this tie back in to the department goals or the quarter goals? If you cannot do that strategically, then a lot of times the value or perception of you as a professional will oftentimes be low, because they cannot hear or see that you're confident in the work that you're doing. When we think about our experience, we oftentimes look at it on the surface level. We think about, I just did these things. This is what I was responsible for. This is what they paid me for, right? A lot of people say that. This is what I got paid to do. I get it. But you're failing to realize the things that they really are paying you to do, and that's to move the needle, right? And we also fail to realize that we are gaining so much more experience other than the things that are on that job description. You are developing in your communication style, your leadership skills, your teamwork, your technology. You're developing in all of these areas that should be setting you up for the next step. So if that next step is a managerial role or leadership role, then hopefully the experience that you have been gaining all of this time will help you with that. Really, if you continue to minimize your experience, other people will do it too. And it's just as simple as that. So make sure that once you understand your value and you stop undervaluing it, you need to strategically interpret it so that others can see it. And the last thing you should do is minimize it. So lastly, I want to talk about this thing called hustle culture. I know we don't really talk about it now, and I'll tell you why, but it was a thing, a few years ago. It was really a thing, like hustle, 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 work hard, stay late, do this, go above and beyond. And that all resulted in some really negative things that are deep rooted into a lot of professionals. And a lot of people are quiet quitting. That's the word that we hear a lot now, right? Quiet quitting. People are disengaged, disconnected, and quite frankly, the hustle culture made professionals disconnect from themselves because they made it all about work. They made it all about getting ahead, getting to the bag, right? And so what happened was, when a lot of professionals took on that persona, they ended up feeling disconnected from themselves, disengaged in their job. And a lot of times they believed that rest was laziness. They believed that confusion is failure. They believed that there was this distortion between real life and work life. And a lot of times that resulted in people being exhausted. And that is the root cause of a lot of mental things for people, right? So when you think about hustle culture in the workplace, you have to remember that you still need rest. You still need clarity, right? You can't operate in a job not knowing what it is you're working toward for your supervisor, the goals, whatever the case may be. So I really want you to remember that now everyone, as a result of hustle culture, is quiet quitting. And if you continue to go without valuing yourself, without strategically interpreting your skill set and experience, and you're constantly showing up to work, going above and beyond and doing these things, not resting and not getting clarity, then you're going to be disengaged, disconnected, and you're going to feel like you're behind. So the whole purpose of this is to get you to see how your mindset, how you show up to work, how you speak, how you articulate, all of these things matter, and these things will get you further ahead in your career. So what I really want you to think about is, where have I been undervaluing myself, right? Think that to yourself. What is an area that I have not been able to communicate, but I'm really good at X, Y, and Z? I want you to also ask yourself, what skill am I good at? What is a skill that people come to me for all the time because they know that I can do it, or they know that I'm efficient? Think about that, because these are your selling points. These are the things that you have to ask yourself, have you been undervaluing? And if you have or haven't, you need to also say, well, how can I strategically make this make sense to someone? So I want you to start practicing interview questions, even though you're not interviewing. Why? Because it gives you a chance to practice how to value yourself, how to strategically interpret it. So that's your homework today. Google some questions about, different skill sets so you can learn how to start explaining it and interpreting your skill set. The last thing you will want to do is act like what you're doing is not important, or act like what you're doing is normal, because I'm sure if you're watching this, I may not have the same skill set that you have, and you may not have the same skill set that I have, and that is your advantage point, right? So you will want to make sure that you understand your skill set, that you can strategically interpret it, and that you are able to walk into a room and know exactly what the goals are. Get that clarity so that you're not confused. Make sure that you are always alert and attentive. And remember that hustle culture is dead. Please do not continue to go down this rabbit hole. So if you can take one thing from this video, please let it be that you are not behind and that you should stop comparing. And please know that if you just simply be more intentional with how you proceed, then you can do good things. You will then stop feeling that pressure. You'll be able to be more confident, because this whole thing is rooted in confidence, and you'll honestly be ready to take it to the next level. Become a manager, become a leader, or whatever your next step would be. You're still struggling, you're kind of like, this is deeper than I thought it would be. This is exactly why I created my webinar, How to Stop Feeling Professionally Unqualified, and it is for you. If you have been struggling, trying to figure it out, I'm going to encourage you to click the link below in the description to register now. It is a framework that will allow you to understand the root and the cause, but also how to work through it. It'll give you some different steps that you can take, some different practices that you can do to make sure that you understand how to value yourself and how to position your unique skills and your experience. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you click the link in the description below and register for your chance to have your seat reserved. And then whenever the webinar goes live, you will receive your email to watch. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that this helped you. And if it did, comment value below, because I want to know that you're here, you're hearing this. Make sure you give this video a like. And if you haven't already, subscribe so that you don't miss any more career advice from me. And at the end of the day, you've got it. Just remember that you've got this. Be patient with yourself, have confidence, and I will catch you guys on the next one.